Hey, it's been a while since I made a video with me in it. Hair's still not quite dry, so, you know, it is what it is. Oh, and this is my Moldavite. I thought I would share it with you, show you that. Can we see it very well? I've just wrapped it in some jeweler's wire there so that I could wear it and have it be over my heart. And, things are constantly changing. I think we all know that. Those of us that can be still long enough to sense it. When we're in mind, we're pretty darn insensitive. But those of us spending any time in heart at all will be becoming aware. We might not exactly be able to put it into words, but things just keep feeling different. And okay, I'm going to put a short audio clip, reasonably short, 9 minutes or so, of Alan Watts in with this video. He's really pulled it together in this. It's from his philosophical series called Life is a Hoax. And it's the first few minutes of that. And it's really good. So I guess I'll put it in here.
And what we do is we put the child into the corridor of this grade system with a kind of, come on, kitty, kitty, kitty. And yeah, you go to kindergarten, you know. And that's a great thing because when you finish that, you'll get into first grade. And then come on, first grade leads to second grade and so on. And then you get out of grade school, you go to high school, and it's revving up, the thing is coming. And then you're going to go to college. And by Jove, then you get into graduate school. And when you're through with graduate school, you go out and join the world. Then you get into some racket where you're selling insurance. And they've got that quota to make. And you're going to make that. And all the time, the thing is coming. It's coming. It's coming. That great thing, the success you're working for. Then when you wake up one day about 40 years old, you say, my God, I've arrived. I'm there. And you don't feel very different from what you always felt. And there's a slight letdown because you feel there's a hoax. And there was a hoax. A dreadful hoax. They made you miss everything. We thought of life by analogy with a journey, with a pilgrimage, which had a serious purpose at the end. The thing was to get to that end, success or whatever it is, or maybe heaven after you're dead. But we missed the point the whole way along. It was a musical thing, and you were supposed to sing or to dance while the music was being played.
All right. So, Alan lays things out beautifully. Life is a hoax. Not really, but the way they have got it set up, the way society is structured, and the way it's always future-focused. By making it future-focused, we're less aware of the misery of the present, because brighter and brighter dreams of the future are presented. And so somehow that seems to keep our attention enough that we're not totally present with the moment. I have a written journal for you called We Are All Crazy, Thank God for That, or Are the quote-unquote sane really insane? And let's see, I wrote it yesterday, 8/1, and the Mayan day was 3 the road. Okay, so that's a radical title. Well, I don't generally do titles first. The piece generally writes itself. Then I go back and figure out what the title is or should be. But heck, with things ever and always changing, what's new here? Nothing. That's right. So, are you crazy? Are you crazy with me? Maybe you're crazy against me. And if that would be so, then you'd still be in the mind, where we can be for and against, pro and con. Duality and polarity are properties of 3D and of mind. And I'd maybe feel a bit of sorrow or empathy for you there, but I wouldn't leave my own lovely, lively insanity for all the wealth in the world. No thanks. I'm happy this way. Can you say that about your life? The life you're leading there? Are you well and truly happy? Do you fear insanity, quote unquote, might be the next question to ask. And it's a legitimate one. Most of us do. That is, until we suddenly find we don't. Odd how things creep up on you. Go figure, right? Who can make sense of things, of all the changes as they're swiftly flying by? Not I, said the spider to the fly. Oh dear, where did such a line as that enter in? Well, do at least consider this. It's all the supposedly sane people who are making the world what it is today. I don't believe any of us crazy ones are in charge of anything much anywhere. When that happens, it's so rare. And well, maybe that needs to change. What do you think? Do you think that the quote unquote sane ones have done such a hot job that they deserve to keep their posts up there in control of the rest of us? No, I don't think so either. Well, and okay, I hear the rest of you, the ones saying out there that just because the sane ones aren't doing such a hot job, it doesn't necessarily follow to turn it over to the nuts among us. Oh well, logic. What a lovely trap it is or can be. Very useful at times, to be sure, just not always. Do consider and be on the lookout for when logic does not suffice. You'll find it soon enough if you're in heart. Now, I won't let that put me off from touting my brand of insanity. I'm sure it would, at the very least, bring great comfort to the masses who would need it, for in my world we would all be aware of the bulk of the terrible lies and dishonest tricks on which so much of our society is founded and run. It would take a great deal of the peaceful comfort of heart to help one look into such things as that, to look at it squarely. In my world, we all have eyes fully open, unafraid. It's only because we all live deep within heart that this is even possible, for that gives us the basis of peace from which to delve into literally anything. All fear would be gone, you see. In heart, fear is starved of its meat, which is our energy, our compliant belief flowing into it. Fear requires belief. Had you considered that? Well, do. Fear must have your belief to even exist in your world. No, not belief in the fear, belief in your beliefs. Look to those things you believe that enable the next fear that comes upon you. Stop and don't run. Instead, turn and face the fear beast. Have a good look at it. Look for what's under there that enables, that empowers the fear response in you. It's a belief or 12 under there that operate often together to produce such discomfort as fear. Come on, you don't want to feel this way anymore, do you? Well, look at it. Look to its foundation. And I promise you'll find beliefs under there holding it up. Get rid of any one of those beliefs and watch the rest start tumbling down. It's rather funny once you get such a thing going to watch it collapse. It's no fun to begin with because you're dealing with the darn fear feeling, the nasty beast. Well, I'd say stand tall, but I don't know what good that would do, really. So instead, I say stand in heart. Take a seat there. That'll do it. There's no fear in there, and that's why. None at all. Not one whit. You don't believe me? Well, there's nothing I can do about that. It's up to you to check things out, you know. Don't go around believing in folks, in what we say. Check it out first for yourself. Either it's true or it's not, but you won't find that out by just believing things. Be leery of belief in anything, and certainly in anyone. And that's a really big secret right there. Don't believe in things or in people. Otherwise, since some belief is necessary to operate in 3D life, just hold your beliefs lightly, like delicate lace. And that's what they are, or can be, you know. Bits of fluff that it's well to handle with care. Otherwise, you may find they're made of steel and they're in charge of you in that case. Not so nice. Now, if you're still living from the mind, then being told to hold beliefs lightly is like saying pretzels eat snakes. It makes about as much sense, to the mind, that is. It leaves you in a pretty pickle, in quite a strange, forlorn state, for mind can't abandon mind. Only you can do that. But first you have to separate out from it, from the mind. And that's what all the watch and observe stuff in these journals is about, by the way, to help you do that. Now, some will have guessed the secret by now. It's being in heart that makes all the difference here. When we are in heart, it becomes so much easier to distance from beliefs. This comes about quite naturally, just by occupying heart. And try it to see what I mean. You don't even have to do anything. Stuff just happens. Well, that's one perspective on things anyway. Check it out. Something else you may have either noticed or figured out for yourself is that mind can't exist absent beliefs. That's what mind does. It builds beliefs, always structuring the older ones in newer and better ways to fit in with new information. Mind is a belief-making machine. So, maybe the only thing new here is that your fears are all based on beliefs. Beliefs that are in your care and keeping, by the way. You're in charge of them. And yes, they may be in the subconscious, so not always visible to the conscious state, but they're still yours. You're still in control of them, if you choose to be. It's your subconscious, you know, not someone else's. One of the biggest lies we've been fed is the lie of omission, the one they didn't tell us, that to have a good life, one must choose that, must make good use of choice and free will. Now, I just saw a good number of folks dive back into mind there with their definition of a good life. So please stop and consider is your definition of a good life from the mind. Probably is. If it is, then nothing I say here has any relevance. I'm not talking on that level. It's not that it's bad or anything, the level of mind, that whole world. It's just not where I'm operating from these days. It holds little or no interest for me. Thus, I don't speak to it. All that I have to say is best heard from the level of heart to make sense of it. Now, if you'll pardon me for a moment, I'll share with you that often when people write to argue or complain about something I've said, they heard me in mind. So that makes it hard for me to respond. What do I say? How do I tell them that I live in another world now? That's what it amounts to, you know. Okay, enough of that. Moving on. Well, maybe I'm finished, actually. Let's see. I was writing on getting past fear, getting to the bottom of that, and discovering its underpinnings are just beliefs, our own, nothing more. Get rid of or alter the beliefs, and the fear shifts or goes away, and often instantly. It's really amazing discovering that fear is just a big bugaboo, a paper tiger, a chimera, nothing real. And again, for the word real, let's stay out of mind. Nothing real. What does that mean? And please enter heart with me to listen. I don't know that there's another way to get what is said here. When in mind, you are guaranteed, and yes, guaranteed to misunderstand. So stay in heart, whatever you think of it, whenever you think of it. What is real? What is reality? Well, here, let us remember that all the solid substance of your body or mine fits into a thimble with room to spare. Also, recall that when looking into the night sky, you're actually looking into the past. Those stars that you see, they could be long gone now. In the thousands or millions of years, it took their light to meet your eyes. Those light years. Realize that. Just be with it for a moment. The star you're seeing could be absent, not really there at all. What is time, after all? When we look into space, we're time traveling. Even in the day this happens. If something terrible happened to our sun, it would explode or be gone. It would be fully 8 minutes, a bit more, before we'd find out. For it takes light that long to cover the distance to Earth. So you're time traveling when you look at the sun. It's 8 minutes old, what you're seeing. Be in heart. See, heart can handle these things. They pretzel the mind. They don't bother heart in the least. Heart already knows all this stuff. Now, this is only one perspective on things, I admit. There are other ways of looking at them. The way I don't suggest, however, is to not look, to not consider deep things at all. To be here, to be walking about as in some sort of sleep or a daze, this isn't living at all. This is just to exist. This is what society cultivates in us. Well, that's not enough for me. How about you? I bet you're tired of it too. Well then, come with me when I take such trips. Come on, why not? Sure, you'll have to enter heart to do it. But that can be done, you know. I keep talking of living in another world. Well, come along with me and discover it for yourself. This heart kingdom is not my kingdom alone, you know. We all live in heart kingdom as well as in 3D and on earth. We live in them both simultaneously. The thing is, most people don't notice the heart one. They don't put their attention there. They're so taken up with the illusory, transitory world of 3D, there's no attention left to give to anything else. Anything deeper than this just isn't recognized. We're called crazy for even considering such things. Well, that's pretty sad, don't you think? Stay on the surface or be called nuts? You think maybe that's part of the programming? That those who dare to dream, who dare to explore reaches and regions of inner space should be so labeled and cast aside like that. And I know it makes me sad when I look at it. So very often I have something so wonderful that I'm just aching to share, and then bam. They slam the door shut by their generalization that I'm some kook or nut, not worthy of their attention in any way. Oh well, you know, they're the losers right now, but they won't be forever. Everyone wakes up when it's right, when it's just right for each of us. We're waking up by degrees right now. Bits and pieces every day. The more we stay in heart and pay attention to that, the more we're sensitive to this in ourselves and in each other. We become aware of it. There's no need to hurry anyone along. Their inner clock knows when it's time for them. So my suggestion, just let everyone be. Don't try to convert or illumine anyone. You didn't come here into 3D to save the planet, you know. If you're into that, get back in heart. Or even if you did, how about let's start each one with the self. Let's rescue our very own self first. How's that sound? Let's fully wake up. Only then will we be fully able to tune in and offer what is best and most perfect for every other one of us, every other aspect of us walking around out there. That's when we'll be sufficiently tuned in to know when it's best to hush and when to speak. Truly, my friends, I hope you can hear me on this. Our job, our first and very most important job, is just to save us. By turning our focus inward and away from the whole outer world, we'll be on the right track. For most of us, awakening starts like this. Now, it can go quite literally anywhere after that, but the start is within. So, I keep calling us into heart. It's so ridiculous, really, how very simple it is. Just keep centering inside the chest and be quiet. Watch things happen. Quit bossing life around for a bit. Wait and see. That's all. Wait and watch for a time, or a time and a half. I don't know how long it'll take, but you do. Inside of you, there, deep in your heart, you've known ever since childhood. You know quite literally everything in there. Just contemplate that. That will take you within, if you'll let it. Blessings and light to you. You can do this, you know. You've already done it. That's the secret that time holds from you. Just start to let time go. Let it go in the ways that you've known it up to now. Let it in about their stars and their light being a viewing of the past. Let the old ideas, the old matrices, the programming break. Let them shatter. Help them, in fact. Be willing to be made new, to be reborn each day, in each moment, in fact. Give up the tight grip on what you think you know. Just let it go. You know nothing. Nothing, really. Be in heart for that. It's solid substance that can only be taken in that way. Mind just can't digest things like not knowing. Don't make it try, poor mind. Let it be. Move on. Meet you in heart. Okay, now I've put a footnote with this. Up there I gave you a quote about no, no, said the spider to the fly. And it was in the paragraph where I said, question insanity. Are you insane? And are you afraid of being insane? And no, no, says the spider. Okay, obviously, to those familiar with it, the quote is from The Spider and the Fly, the 19th century fable about the wily spider who manipulates in many ways, eventually succeeding in winning over the fly into his parlor and his tummy via vanity. Clearly, the spider of this fable does not consider himself insane. Poor dear. For in his seeming sanity, he is far more insane than the rest. Okay, now the question is, should I read you this poem? I've given you a link to it, but it's a short little thing. If I can find it here, I'll read it. Maybe it's meant to be, maybe it's not. Here we go, by Mary Howitt, The Spider and the Fly, a fable from the 1800s. Will you step into my parlor? Said the spider to the fly. 'Tis the prettiest little parlor you ever did spy. The way into my parlor is up a winding stair, and I have many pretty things to show when you are there. Oh, no, no, said the little fly, to ask me is in vain, for who goes up your winding stair can ne'er come down again. I'm sure you must be weary, dear, with soaring up so high. Will you rest upon my little bed? Said the spider to the fly. There are pretty curtains drawn around, the sheets are fine and thin, and if you'd like to rest a while, I'll snugly tuck you in. Oh, no, no, said the little fly, for I've often heard it said, they never, never wake again who sleep upon your bed. Said the cunning spider to the fly, dear friend, what shall I do to prove the warm affection I've always felt for you? I have within my pantry good store of all that's nice. I'm sure you're very welcome. Will you please to take a slice? Oh, no, no, said the little fly, kind sir, that cannot be. I've heard what's in your pantry, and I do not wish to see. Sweet creature, said the spider, you're witty and you're wise. How handsome are your gauzy wings! How brilliant are your eyes! I have a little looking glass upon my parlor shelf. If you'll step in one moment, dear, you shall behold yourself. I thank you, gentle sir, she said, for what you're pleased to say, and bidding you good morning now. I'll call another day. The spider turned him round about and went into his den, for well he knew the silly fly would soon be back again. So he wove a subtle web in a corner sly, and set his table ready to dine upon the fly. Then he came out to his door again, and merrily did sing, "Come hither, hither, pretty fly, with the pearl and silver wing. Your robes are green and purple, there's a crest upon your head. Your eyes are like the diamond bright, but mine are dull as lead. Alas, alas, how very soon this silly little fly, hearing his wily flattering words, came slowly flitting by. With buzzing wings she hung aloft, then near and nearer drew, thinking only of her brilliant eyes and green and purple hue. Up jumped, thinking only of her crested head, poor foolish thing. At last up jumped the spider cunning, and fiercely held her fast. He dragged her up his winding stair into his dismal den, within his little parlor, but she ne'er came out again. And now, dear little children, who may this story read, to idle, silly, flattering words I pray you ne'er give heed. Unto an evil counselor close heart and ear and eye, and take a lesson from this tale of the spider and the fly. Good day then.